Somewhere in an office, a person receives an AI-generated answer. The screen offers a simple choice: approve or reject. It looks like human oversight. But a button is not a review. If the person does not know what the answer is based on, does not have time to check it, cannot change the outcome in a meaningful way, and has nowhere to send an unusual case, then the person has not been given responsibility. They have been given a ritual. The real question is not, should a human stay in the loop? The real question is, what kind of decision is this? And what does a person need in order to make it well? Start with the decision, not the interface. An AI assistant may summarize a meeting, draft a response, search approved knowledge, or suggest the next step in a workflow. These are not all the same kind of action. The difference is not how impressive the software looks. The difference is what happens if the output is wrong. A weak internal draft may need a small correction. A response that affects a customer commitment, access to a service, a financial action, or a person's opportunity may need a much deeper review. So before designing oversight, name the real decision. Ask who could be affected. Ask what could go wrong. And ask whether the person reviewing the output can actually check the evidence before acting. Not every output needs the same review. If people must check every low-consequence suggestion in the same way, they become tired and may click through. When review becomes automatic, it is no longer real review. A stronger design uses triggers. A case may need deeper attention because the consequence is high, the evidence is weak, the situation is unusual, the information is changed, or the result would create a significant commitment. Review triggers change the pace of work. Routine, well-supported cases can receive a light check. An unusual case slows down. A material decision reaches a named person with authority to decide. A recurring concern can pause the path and send the organization back to learn. That is how review becomes proportional, not ceremonial. A reviewer cannot judge a recommendation by its confidence alone. They need something to inspect. For an internal service workflow, that may mean the approved policy, the source document, the date of the guidance, and the context of the request. The AI can help locate and organize this material, but the reviewer needs to see enough of the basis to decide whether the answer fits this case. The best question is not, do I trust the system? Ask instead, does this recommendation fit the evidence, the purpose, and this particular situation? That turns the system from a machine that hands down a conclusion into a tool that helps a person assemble relevant evidence. An automated suggestion can arrive quickly and look certain. That can make people accept it too easily. Good review cannot rely on a reminder to be careful. The work has to require active judgment. Put the source beside the proposal. Ask a case-relevant question. Give the reviewer time when the decision matters. Make clear where the tool is useful and where its limits begin. Practice with examples that do not fit the normal path. A meaningful reviewer is not an obstacle standing between the system and efficiency. A meaningful reviewer is part of the system's ability to notice when a neat answer does not match a messy world. Real oversight gives people more than two choices. They may accept a recommendation when it fits. They may correct it when it is useful but incomplete. They may defer a case when important information is missing. They may escalate when a specialist or manager must decide. And when a concern affects more than one case, they may pause the workflow while the organization investigates. An override is not a failure. It is evidence that the normal model did not fit this case. An exception route is the bridge between a routine workflow and reality. First, the reviewer identifies the exception. Then the workflow stabilizes, so no unsuitable recommendation becomes irreversible. Record a short reason and the relevant evidence. Send the case to the named owner. Make a decision. Then ask whether this was one unusual case or a sign that the workflow needs to change. Human review should not make the last person who clicked a button responsible for the entire system. The workflow owner defines the purpose and normal path. Frontline reviewers apply context and surface concerns. Technical owners maintain the configuration, access, sources, and change record. Advisors help define boundaries. Managers own material trade-offs and pause decisions. Sponsors protect the time and honesty required for learning. Training is not a product demonstration. People need to know what the tool does, what it does not do, and what they must still notice. They must be able to disagree without fear. The purpose of AI at work is not to remove people from every decision. It is to help people spend attention where it matters most. A person with context, authority, alternatives, and support can help the workplace learn before a small mistake becomes a large one. A strong training session makes disagreement safe. It shows that a reviewer may say, "This does not fit," and receive support rather than pressure to keep the workflow moving. The goal is not to make every employee an AI engineer. The goal is to help people preserve and use their professional judgment as the system changes the shape of their work. Review activity should improve the workflow. Look at corrections, overrides, deferrals, and escalations, not as counts for judging individual employees, but as clues. Are the same sources repeatedly insufficient? Are certain exceptions appearing more often? Are reviewers spending so much time checking that promised efficiency has become hidden work? Is a changing policy making old answers less reliable? These questions turn human review into a learning loop. Monitor the workflow, its outcomes, its source material, and the changing context around it. Do not turn monitoring into surveillance of the people doing the work. There is no single correct amount of human review. A routine, reversible, well-supported task may need a light check. A case with uncertainty, sensitive information, or material consequences may need deeper evidence and a named decision-maker. Some situations may require a specialist. Others may be outside the system's scope entirely. The important thing is to make the choice explicit before people are under pressure to decide. Who reviews? What do they review? What evidence do they need? What can they change? When do they escalate? When those answers are visible, human review becomes part of the operating model. The purpose of AI at work is not to remove people from every decision. It is to help people spend their attention where it matters most. A well-designed system should make its boundaries clear, invite evidence, and make exceptions visible. Human review is not a person who nods beside an automated answer. It is a person with context, authority, alternatives, and support. That is how a workplace learns before a small mistake becomes a large one.